This conference will now be recorded.
So in our previous class, we have seen Pega is mainly used to develop some internal applications of any organization. Okay, so if for each and every organization, there will be n number of internal applications when compared to one main website. That is what we have concluded. So in order to develop these internal applications, we follow multiple structures. Suppose, let me consider one small example. Suppose we are working in an organization like Citibank. So Citibank organization will be having multiple internal applications, right? Suppose it is having something like account creation portal. So it is having one internal application for the account creation portal and one application for the credit card section, one for the salary management. Likewise, it might be having multiple internal applications. And you joined one organization today like Citibank, and your manager is asking you to make modifications or design something related to one of the internal application. Okay, suppose this is my internal application structure, and for Citibank I'm having something like account creation portal, and there is something like loan creation portal, and there will be something like salary management, and there will be one internal application for the reward points also. So each and every organization will be having many internal applications. So you joined this organization today. Okay, so in order to develop one of the internal application, your manager is giving you few requirements. Like in account creation portal, if you're given a requirement to design one web page, okay, one registration page you have to create for one of the internal portal you joined organization today. Okay, suppose the basic things what we include as part of this registration for one of the internal application, like first name will be having, correct, right? And we'll be having something related to last name as part of as part of registration. We'll be collecting these fields generally, like first name will be collecting, last name, age, so mobile number will be collecting, gender. So these kind of basic fields will be collecting from the user as part of registration. So once you are done creating this registration page for the account creation portal, so this is one of the internal portal. So once you are done creating page for this, the next thing, then after your manager will be asking you to do the same kind of account creation portal, sorry, do the same kind of registration portal for the next application also. So once you are done designing this registration page for the first implementation application, he will be asking you to work on the second one, and there also you will be having one page registered for them. And then after you start working on the application 3, there also you have created one registration page, and finally you have one more internal application, and there also you need something like a registration page, and you have designed there. So in each and every internal application, what we are trying to do, we are using few controls like first name, last name, and we are trying to make use of it. And by the end of this fourth internal application, what you are thinking, you're thinking that there is some repetitive work being happened. So whatever the work you did in the first internal application, the same work has been done in the second one and the third and the final one also. In future, suppose your city organization is having some other internal applications getting increased, then if you want to have this registration page there also, what we will be doing, we have to again create it there. So ante kada, suppose ఇప్పుడు మన credit card, suppose if you're having one account in Citibank, okay, even then if I want to apply for a credit card after some years, then what they will be asking, they will be again asking me all the necessary details. Whatever the details I have submitted during the time of account registration, that will not be useful for them. They will be again asking us to provide all the necessary information like first name, all these details. And maybe after 2 years, if you're trying to take one loan from the Citibank, again they will be asking you to give all the information. Meaning for each and every portal, they will be trying to access the information updated. Okay, so that is the reason they will be having this kind of registration page separately for each and every portal. So you joined this organization to work on one of the internal application, and there you have created some registration page. And once that is done, you are working on the second, likewise third, fourth, all the internal applications you are working on. And in each and every application, you are doing the same registration form. So after that, after the end of this last internal application, you understood that you are trying to do some kind of repetitive work. So whatever the work you did in the first screen, first portal, the same work has been done all these times. So instead, whatever the things, whatever the registration kind of things you are creating, if we can able to create it in the library, so there will be one library kind of thing. So whatever the thing that seems to be very reusable, if you can able to create this in one library kind of, then you can able to make use it wherever you want. Okay, so during the first internal application design, like first name, last name, these properties, these things, if you can able to directly have it included in the library, then you can able to make use of it in wherever you want. Why? Because this seems to be very generic. So first name, last name, these kind of components seems to be very generic and seems to be very reusable in multiple internal applications. That is the reason PRPC will be suggesting us to have all these kind of reusable things created it in one library. Okay, so if I just create it in the library, I can able to reuse it wherever I want. So for the first time, whenever you're working on first portal, if you create all this in the library, you can able to reuse it from library into account creation portal. That is first thing. Okay, so by the time your requirement will be completed, and in future if any of the new developer is coming and trying to create the same kind of registration page in some other portal, then what he will be doing, he need not create it again. He will be just checking in the library, and from there if there is if anything found there, he will be just using it. Okay, so if all the applications are connected to that library, whatever the data we have in that library, we can just simply use it. So by just because of this, reusability concept is getting increased. Okay, so what Pega recommends us to go with one library. So library, maintaining one library is completely meant for reusability. So whatever the components I'm creating it today, if it seems to be very generic, then we have to maintain it in one library. And what are all the internal applications being connected to that framework, sorry, connected to that library, we can able to just inherit, or we can able to just make use of it from there. Okay, suppose if I'm trying to design something like a library here. So during the creation of first interaction portal, sorry, during the creation of first registration page, if you feel that these components will be very generic and will be useful in the next places also, then you should not be directly creating it in the internal application. So in the account creation portal, you are trying to design one web page, and where you are thinking that will be very reusable. So you should not be creating it directly into that portal. Why? Because it will not be useful in the next portals. Even though it seems to be very generic, it will not be reusable. That is the thing. Whatever the component you are trying to work on today, so even in the real time, whatever the thing you're trying to create, you have to first identify the scope of it. Scope meaning how the reusability of that will be. Okay, first you have to identify the scope of it. Once you feel that this scope will be useful in some other places also, then you have to create this kind of components in the library. Okay, once we create it in the library, what are all the applications that are connected to that library just can simply use the data from there. So in this way, we can able to make use of the reusability concept. So if I'm using certain components in the framework in the library, then I need not create 4 or 5 times extra, right? So for the first time only, I'm identifying the scope. If the scope seems to be very generic, we will be creating it in the library, and if not, we will be creating it in the this internal applications. Okay. Suppose, continuing the same example, suppose if I'm working on the account creation portal. Okay, so account creation portal is already been designed. So you joined one organization today, okay, and that registration page is already designed, and your manager is asking you to make few modifications to include alternate email ID. Okay, there is something like an email ID that is missing here. So your manager seems to be that should be part of requirement, and he is asking you to include email ID also. So what you will be doing, so when you're working on this account creation portal, so these fields are already there, and you're trying to include one more field for the email. So whenever you are trying to create that, you should be understanding the scope of it. So what are the thing you are creating, will it be useful only in this place or some other places also? So email seems to be very generic for me, and it will be useful in the next portals as well. So that is the reason we will be creating this email kind of thing in the library. Once I create it in the library, I can able to use it directly from there. Why? Because this will be connected to that. And the next developer, whenever they are trying to include email in their portals, then they will not be directly creating it in their portal. What they will be doing, they will be just checking it in the library, and if they found there, then they will be using it from there. Okay, so in this way reusability is getting increased. Understanding, right? So each and every developer has to follow the best practice. So best practice following meaning, before you create anything, so once you join organization today, before you create anything, either it might be some controls, okay, or it might be some sections or anything, whatever the thing you're trying to work on, you have to just identify the scope of it. Okay, so the scope meaning whether whether the component you are creating it today will be useful only to this portal or to the some other portals also. So if it is being used into some other portals, then you have to create it in the library, and if not, you can able to directly create it in your internal application as well. So in this requirement, you can just include email here also. Even then our requirement will be satisfied. Okay, for the time sake our requirement will be satisfied, you will be getting the proper output, your manager will be satisfied, that's fine. But in the next screen, if you want to make use, I mean the next portal, the next internal application, if you want to make use of this email again, what you have to do, you should be again creating it again here. Why? Because this is not being created in the framework for the first time itself. Okay, so you have to identify the scope. If it seems to be very generic, you have to create it in the library. If not, you have to create it in the internal applications itself. Okay, suppose I am having one internal application related to credit card. Okay, so there already registration has been designed, I mean the necessary things has been designed for registration. Now I have to include one more component for accepting expected credit card limit. Okay, so there should be one extra thing that I have to include, like expected credit card limit. Okay, so expected credit card limit seems to be one of the text box, what kind of thing, and this particular component seems to be useful only to the credit card portal. Okay, so this expected credit card limit port seems to be useful only into this portal. You might not be using this particular component into account creation portal or loan creation portal or salary management also. So in that case, we can able to have this component created directly in that particular internal application. Getting my point, right? So whatever the internal application you might be working, so you have to just identify the scope before you working on it. So whatever the thing you are trying to create, you have to just understand the scope. If the thing what you are creating seems to be very generic, you have to create it in the library, and if not, you can directly create it in the internal applications. Okay, and technically we call this library as a framework. So framework is the thing where we can able to include all the generic things. Okay, and technically the internal applications we call it as an implementation applications. Okay, so this will be considered as a framework, and this will be considered as an implementation. So I have 4 implementation applications in my organization. So one implementation application for the account, one for loan, one for salary. Likewise, I have 4 implementation applications and one framework. So purpose of this framework is to hold the generic things. So what are all the things that will be commonly used across multiple implementation applications? Those will be commonly created it in the framework. So the purpose of framework is to have generic components, and the purpose of implementation application is to have specific components. Specific meaning it will be useful only to that particular application. Okay, if I'm creating something like an expected credit card limit for the credit card portal, I can able to directly create into that application. Why? Because that will not be of useful in some other internal applications also. That is the thing. So whenever you're trying to create, you have to understand the scope. So technically we call this as a framework, and rest of the things we call it as an implementation applications. So if I want to redesign it, I can able to redesign it in this way. So this is my organization, and here I'm trying to maintain one library technically called as a framework. So this is framework. So I can able to redesign my structure in this way, right? So this is implementation 1, Okay, this is for loans. Likewise, what are all the internal applications we have, those are to be considered as an implementation applications. This is for credit card and this is for salary, something like salary management, something. Okay, so maintaining one framework is like an maintaining all the generic things. So Pega recommends us to go with one framework application. So Citibank will be purchasing Pega license from the Pega systems. What they will be recommending, so how many internal applications you might be using, so you just have to include one framework with that. So that is what Pega will be recommending the organization. Okay, so having this framework application is just an recommendation, not like a mandatory. So don't think like each and every organization will be having framework. Okay, so some projects will be having framework applications and some projects will not be having framework applications. So in this scenario, if I'm having multiple internal applications, then they will be going work, they will be going work for framework. And there will be projects where they will be having only one implementation application. In that scenario, they need not go for framework. Okay, so having this framework is just an recommendation, not like a mandatory. If you use framework extra, then it will be useful for the reusability. In future, you might be having one more implementation application included. Okay, then if you want to make use of these components from implementation 1 to implementation 2, it will not be possible in that scenario. So that is the thing. Pega recommends us to go with one framework application created from the beginning only. So whenever you are trying to create few things, even though you are having only one implementation application initially, what are all the things that seems to be very common in future, you can able to create it in the framework. So once you create it in the framework, in future, if you are getting any implementation applications added, you can just simply make reuse of it. Okay, this is the thing where we can able to increase the reusability. So there are many projects which don't have framework, and there are many projects which are having 2 or 3 frameworks also. So it depends upon the project requirement. So having framework is not a mandatory, it is just a recommendation from Pega systems. Okay, so before you creating as a developer, you all will be joined as a developer. So before you working on any of the things, you have to just identify the scope. Once you feel the scope will be useful only into this implementation application, you can able to create it right away there. And if you feel it seems to be very generic, you have to create it in the framework. So before that, you have to understand whether your application, your organization is having framework or not. Understanding, right? So if that is having framework, then you will be opening the framework and you will be creating it there. And from there, you can able to use it here. And suppose even if you feel that seems to be very generic, what are the things you're trying to create it today? If you feel it is like a generic, and if there is no framework, then what you will be doing? You will be creating it in its own internal application. Likewise. So as a developer, you have to just see the scope properly. Once you feel the scope will be reusable, you will be creating it in the framework. So best practice, you have to follow it on daily basis. So once you join organization today, you will be given with one operator ID. Okay, so if you join one company, either any of the company, you will be given with one operator ID. Okay, so technically, I mean, in correlation, we call this as an employee ID. Okay, so one employee ID will be given, but in Pega, we should be calling that as an operator ID. Okay, so each and every person will be given with one operator ID and one password. So operator ID is like a username and password. So once they create operator ID and ask you to log in, okay, you will be starting working on it. Okay, first they has to create one operator ID. So for each and every operator ID, there will be one score defined. Okay, so you started working on something like web creation, and after some time, if I want to see your score, I can able to see that. Okay, if your score seems to be very less, then you are not following the best standards. Okay, if the score seems to be like 80 to 90 percentage, you are following the best standards. So more than 90 percentage, mostly people will not be having that much of best standards, people cannot follow. Okay, so usually it will be between 80 to 90. Okay, and if it is like in 40 or 50, people will be considering, or your manager will be considering, that this particular operator is not following the best standards. Okay, so for each and every operator, there will be one score called compliance score. Okay, so there will be something called compliance. So compliance score ఉంటుంది. So based on that only your best standards following is they can able to identify. So usually it should be between 80 to 90%. More than 90% it is not possible usually. So there will be cases where operators will be having complaint score of 40 or 50 also. So in that case they are not following the best standards and they have to provide justification to their manager. So why this property is created here and what is the error warning error, what is the thing that you are creating it in implementation only. So these kind of questions they will be asking. So you have to provide justification for each and everything. So in order to avoid all these, before designing only, we have to follow the best standards. So once we follow the best standards only, performance will be good and complaint score will be good. Once the complaint score is good, automatically performance will be improved. Okay. So likewise, each and every organization will be having framework and it's not a mandatory. Suppose if I'm having something like, let me create again. So I'm having something like a city organization. City organization provides services for the banking as well as the insurance, let us say. So we can able to have one account in the Citibank as well as we can able to have the insurance for our vehicle also from city. Let us consider. So I'm having 4 implementation applications. Suppose this is my city organization. So my city organization provides services related to banking as well as services related to insurance also. So these both seems to be very different. So banking and insurance are not related. Okay, whatever the implementation applications I have under banking will be connected to that framework. Okay, suppose I have one portal for one implementation application for account creation and one for loans, let us say. Okay, under insurance I'm having one portal related to two-wheeler and one thing related to four-wheeler, let us say. Okay, so I have 4 implementation applications under my organization and 2 applications are related to banking and 2 for insurance. So whatever the thing that seems to be common between account creation portal and loan creation portal, we will be creating it in the banking. So banking will be one separate framework maintained by city organization. Similarly, insurance will be separate framework. So in this kind of cases, this organization is following 2 frameworks. Okay, so if any of the things seems to be common across all the 4 internal applications, what they has to do, they will be creating it in the organization level, or they might be having one more common framework here. Understanding, right? They might be having one more framework here. So this might be framework. So likewise, based on the reusability concept, they can able to have structure defined like that. Okay, so if there is something related to only account, then I will be directly creating it in the account creation portal. If there is something seems to be common between account creation portal and loans, then we'll be creating it in the banking. So once we create it in the banking, we can able to reuse it again. Suppose if there is something common related to account creation portal and four-wheeler application, then what we will be doing, we will be directly creating it in the parent of these two. Okay, suppose if I'm having one more framework defined above, okay, if I'm trying to create the necessary things there, I can able to use it in the this wing or this wing also. So once I make you use it in the banking, I can able to use it here. So once I can able to use it in the insurance, I can able to use it here. So likewise, so based on the project complexity, we might be using those many frameworks, and there will not be frameworks also for some projects. Okay, that depends upon the project requirement. But Pega strongly recommends us to go with framework application at least one. Okay, if you want to have multiple things also, Pega strongly recommends, but it suggests us to go with at least one framework for the reusability. Okay, so based on the reusability, only performance will be increased. Instead of we creating multiple times in multiple applications, Pega recommends us to go for this one. Why? Because Pega always monitors our application. So city organization is purchasing one license from Pega systems. So that means Pega will not be, Pega work is not completed there. So Pega systems person will be continuously monitoring us. Why? Because they should not be getting bad name in terms of a performance perspective. So they will be continuously monitoring us, and they will be keep on checking. So why this is created like that? If you can able to create it there, performance will be increased, no? So these kind of suggestions they will be keep on giving us. Okay, so one person, one dedicated person will be continuously working with our organization. Okay, so we cannot just simply say that this is my application, I have already purchased tool from you, you need not involve. So these kind of things we should not say. Okay, so there will be some agreements. They should not be they should not be getting any bad name based on performance. That is the thing. One person will be strongly dedicated to us. He will be continuously monitoring each and everything, and they will be strongly suggesting us to go for framework. Okay, and if there is any justification from our end, they will be saying we can able to say like framework is not enough for us. We can able to directly go for implementation. So these kind of things we can able to do. Okay, understood till here, right? Likewise, suppose if I'm having only insurance, so if my organization is having only insurance, then we can able to have an organization, one framework for the insurance, and below that we can able to have one for two-wheeler and one for medical. So these kind of things. So based on the reusability, we will be having frameworks. So this is the importance of framework application. So even in the real time also, you have to understand whether your organization is having framework or not. If it is having framework, you have to create it in the framework if it seems to be reusable. If not, you can directly create it in the normal implementation applications. Based on that, compliance score will be decided. Okay. So now we will be working on one application. So that is like medical insurance. Okay. So now I'll be creating one framework application related to the common things, and I will be creating one implementation application. So our organization will be related to one medical. Okay, so there I'll be creating one framework, and in the implementation application we can able to go for medical claimings. Okay, so like SBI life insurance or HDFC life insurance, what they will be doing, once the persons are registered with us, okay, they can able to go for reimbursement, claiming reimbursement. So cashless hospitalization or post hospitalization, both are possible with the normal policy companies, right? So we'll be working on the same thing. Why? Because PEGA is very high in medical sector or like healthcare sector, banking sector, insurance sector, government sector, retail. So these are all the things. Okay, so now let us work on one medical, like that's like healthcare services. Okay, where we'll be creating one application for the framework and one for the implementation. Our implementation application is for claiming the necessary things. So user can able to go for hospital, and then after he can able to submit the necessary documents with us, and we'll be providing the claimings for him. Okay, so like insurance claiming, just like this is also same. Okay, so before that you have to install your PEGA version. Okay, so I'll send you this software to each and everyone today, and you can able to install step by step. I'll send you the document also how to install it. Step by step guide will be provided. You can simply follow that and you can able to install. Okay, so once you install, okay, I'll be sending you the zip file for that. So listen carefully, we have to extract that file, and there will be something like an install option. So just double click on the install, wait for 20 minutes, then after automatically the software will be installed. So the indication for installation successful is on desktop you will be having 3 icons. So on desktop 3 icons will be automatically created. One with startup, one with login, and one with shutdown. So these 3 icons will be automatically created on the desktop. So that is the sign of successfully installation. Okay. So once those 3 are created, automatically this page will be launched. So this page will be launched automatically. So this is an web application, not the desktop application. Okay, once you install, everything should be done in the browser only. Okay, so even in the real time, okay, from here everything will be same. Whatever the thing we are trying to do in our personal machine, from here everything will be same in the enterprise edition also. That is like office edition. Okay, so starting process will be a bit different. So the server I am trying to install in my machine, but in the real time server will be installed at their client machine only, and finally they will be giving you this URL. Okay, so this URL they will be sharing it to you. So the difference between personal edition and the enterprise edition here is we will be running the server manually. So as I told you, on desktop you will be given 3 icons like startup meaning you are starting up the server manually. Okay, but in the real time there will not be anything like in server startup. from your end. So once you completed working on this our course, don't go to your office and ask like, okay, don't ask them like give me the Pega software also. So that is not recommended. As I told you, so server will be running in the client version, in the client place, like in Australia or US, wherever your client is working. Okay, so at the client place, server will be running. Okay, and they will be generating this URL. So finally, this URL should be enough for us. Okay, so irrespective of your RAM size, everything in the enterprise edition, in the office edition, you should not be asking like, give me the software or give me the RAM increasing. So these kind of questions you should not ask. Understanding, right? So you have to just finally get this URL. So in order to get this URL from our personal edition, I am running the server manually, but in the real time, this URL will be generated automatically, okay, by running the server from their end. That server team will be checking. We need not worry. As a Pega developer, we need not worry about these URLs. So they will be just providing the URL, and once you launch that URL, you will be given with this page. Okay. So once you join, you will be created with some operator ID also. Operator ID meaning just like a login. So each and every person will be given with one operator ID and the password. Suppose if you join today, one person, your manager or someone will be creating operator ID for you. Okay, with that you will log in. And the next day, if 10 other people are joining, then your manager will be asking you to create operator IDs for them. So creation of operator ID is very small thing, and you should be in a position to do. Okay, rest all the things will be like a bit complicated, where manager will not ask you to do, but creation of operator ID will be very small thing, and you should be in a position to create anytime. That will be the thing. So you can able to create your operator ID for anyone, for your manager also. That is secondary. Okay. So once you launch this page, for each and everyone will be getting this page only. If you might be either Pega developer or the tester or the administrator, everything, whoever might be. If you're working onto this application, then for each and everyone will be getting this common page. So each and everyone will be given with the same kind of operator ID, like your employee ID only. So once you launch, we should be in a position to access the corresponding portals. I'll show you. Okay. So now my requirement here is I have to create one framework application, and followed by I have to create one implementation application. So one application related to insurance and one application related to claiming. So this is my thing. Okay. In order to create one new application, that is like framework or implementation, I have to log into this. That is the thing, right? So this will be the only page I will be getting. Okay. So in order to create any of the thing, I have to initially log in. But I have not created any application so far. How will I get the login? Understanding? No? So in order to create any of things like implementation or a framework application, Pega gives us one master credentials for us. So master credential is administrator @pega.com. So whatever the document I'm sharing you today, it will be having detailed each and every step of this, like password, username, everything will be there. You can just simply follow the document. So administrator @pega.com, and password is install. Okay, so just log in. So as soon as we log in, we'll be getting this Pega portal. Okay, so for each and every organization, even today also, they will be having administrator login. So most of the organizations are still using the password as install. If you join today, you can just try to log in with that operator ID also, like administrator @pega.com. That is also one of the operator ID having master administrator login. Okay, you can just check also. You can just check with the password as install. If suppose they are changing, that's fine. Most of the people has not been, not even changing that. So you can able to just open it and can able to see, but you should not make any changes on top of it. So once you log in, you'll be getting this screen. So the purpose I logging into this particular portal is to create one framework application, right? Okay, so let us create one framework application first, followed by one implementation application. So in order to create that, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to log in with the master credentials what Pega system is giving for us. So I logged in. So Pega portal I can able to see. So here we can able to see one top bar. Okay, so this is considered as an header bar. Okay, so this is considered as in Dev Studio. Why? Because we are developers, right? So this is considered as in Dev Studio. This name is called as an, earlier we used to call this as a Designer Studio. Earlier meaning this is the 8 version, okay, and before there are 7 version and 6 versions also. So before this 8 version, people used to call this particular portal as Designer Studio, but now we are calling this particular portal as Dev Studio, both in Enterprise Edition as well as the Personal Edition. 100% same will be there. So whatever the look and feel we are having it now, everything will be same in your Enterprise Edition also. Okay, everything will be same. Only difference is like in starting up the server. So server I have to start up manually for my laptop, but in the real time your client will be running from their end. So finally they will be generating one URL for you. Okay, so in our case also, right, I have run the server and finally one URL is being generated. So with this URL I can able to launch this Pega portal in any of the browser. Why? Because this server is accessible across all my laptop. I can able to use it anywhere. Similarly, if your client is running the server in Australia or somewhere, who are all connected to that particular server, it might be from India or Australia or Dubai, anywhere, who are all connected to that particular server, this URL will be accessed likewise. Okay, so ultimately getting this URL will be the thing. You have to just ask for the development URL or the QA URL likewise. For different portals there will be different URLs, so you will have to ask like a dev URL. So instead of localhost, there you will be having something like a chart, city devs. If you are working in city organization, they will be given like this, city dev or city QA, city UAT likewise. So there will be something like a meaningful, and after that PR web and PR server, from here everything will be same. So till PR web there will be difference. So I am running on the local host, that is the thing, I'm getting local host here, and you will be given with some other thing where you will not find the local host. There will be something related to your organization name and the environment name. Okay, so likewise I can be having one more URL for QA meaning testing team, quality assurance team. So as a developer, once you start designing something, you have to pass the code to the QA, right? So what QA will be doing, they will be given with separate URLs. Okay, so they have to get this kind of URL and they have to hit it and they have to log in with their operator IDs and they will be testing it there. So for different environments, different URLs will be there. Okay, for development, for QA, for UAT, for pre-prod, for production, like this. You have to ask for each and every URL and you have to get the operator ID created in each and every URL. Okay, initially you will be created operator ID only to the dev environment. Okay, once you are completely done with the development, the next thing is you have to do the testing. First you have to do. Okay, first you have to do, then after we will be passing it to the development testing team, right? Then what they will be asking you to do, so they will be just asking you to once check each and everything in QA environment. So once that is fine, only we'll be passing it to the QA team and they will be checking and identifying the defects. So before that you have to just say like my QA, I don't have operator in the QA environment, then they will be creating it again. Suppose if you want to create it for some other people, you can also do that if you are having it. Okay, so likewise for each and every URL or environment, separate operator IDs will be created, and by default in dev environment it will be created for you. Okay, once that is created, you can able to create it for the multiple people. Understanding, right? And apart from this, everything will be same in Enterprise Edition as well as from here also. So the purpose of launching here is to create one framework application first. Then after we'll be creating one implementation application. That is fine. For that I'm trying to use master login. So as I told you, this will be considered as in Dev Studio, and the top bar, this is completely called as a header bar, where we can able to create some new applications from here. We can able to create some extra rules, everything. Okay, so this is considered as an header bar, and left side part. Okay, so this will be considered as an explorer. Okay, so we have app explorer. If you click on this, we'll be getting app. We should be calling this as an app explorer. Likewise, data types explorer, case types explorer. Likewise, the left part is completely called as an explorer. Okay, and the bottom one, footer, we can able to see something, right? Tracer, clipboard, live view, performance. Okay, so this is considered this is as a development tools. Suppose as a developer, if you got stuck somewhere, you are getting something other than with the expected behavior, then you have to identify where exactly the issue is. So as a developer, you have to make use of some development tools in order to debug the issue. So in order to debug, we will be using this development tools like clipboard, UI, tracer, likewise. So this will be accessible only by the developer. By the testing team or someone, you cannot able to we cannot able to access this. Where a developer, Dev Studio will be accessible only for the developers. For the QA team, they will be getting the output screen. I'll show you. So in the next classes, we can able to see each and everything. So this will be considered as a footer bar, or the where we can able to find all the development tools. We'll make use of this each and everything in coming classes. So this is completely related to promotion. Right side will be like community Pega news, where they will be giving the latest information in from the Pega community. So if you have internet connected in your machine, you'll be getting this part refreshed. If not, you'll be getting this as a blank. You need not worry. So in order to run this Pega system, in order to run this Pega application in our machine, no internet is required. Okay, whenever we are working with email integrations in the last classes, I'll show you. So in order to send one customized email to the person, then then internet is required. Okay, till then internet is not at all required for us. Once you install the software in your machine, internet is of no use for this. Okay, after the person getting registered, if you want to send any automated email to the Gmail directly, okay, any other third-party things like Gmail, Hotmail, Outlook, anything, then we should be having these email integrations connected to the internet. Then we will be making use of it. Okay, this right side part is like in community Pega news, which will be refreshed all the time. Okay, so if you're not having internet, this will not be loaded. That is secondary. And here this is like in Pega community, this is the big banner. So Pega Infinity, meaning from the 8th version, they are calling this as an Pega Infinity. So before version, they did not call this as an Pega Infinity. From this version only, they are calling Pega Infinity. Why? Because lot many features are included compared to 7. So that is the thing, they renamed it as an Pega Infinity. Okay, so this is the overview of this Pega tool. And now my purpose of launching into this tool with this master credentials is to create one framework application for my organization from the scratch. So for my organization, I want to create one framework application, and once that is created, I want to create again one implementation application. That is actually my process. Okay, once I launch this framework and implementation, once I create this, then I will be creating the necessary things like creation of a web creation portal, then after email integrations. Likewise, each and everything we have to create in that application only. So in order to create those applications, I'm launching it here. So now I'm seeing something like an application as Pega platform. We can able to see it here. So application colon Pega platform, meaning there is already one application created. Understanding, right? So the purpose of launching into this particular portal is to create one application, but already I'm seeing one application name as Pega platform. So did we create this application? I did not create it. And there will be some other things also that are being created automatically. Okay, we'll discuss about that. Okay, and technically we should be calling this tool as an PRPC tool. So we'll be calling this as a Pega tool actually, but that is not the correct thing. We have to call this as a PRPC tool. Why? Because whatever the thing I'm trying to create it now, it might be one implementation application or one framework application or one activity or one data transform, one email integration, anything. Whatever the thing you want to create into this Pega portal, that should be called as a rule only. Okay, one application rule for framework, one application rule for implementation. Okay, one activity rule for email sending. Okay, one when condition rule, one data transform rule. Likewise, whatever the thing you want to create, everything is to be considered as a rule in Pega. So that is the thing, this should be called as a Pega rules process commander. Okay, understood, right? So we should be calling this tool name as PRPC from now. So PRPC meaning Pega rules process commander. So most of the people will be calling this tool as a Pega tool, but that is not 100% correct. So this should be called as a PRPC tool. Okay, so the name of the tool is PRPC, and the organization which has invested on this is called as Pega. That's it. So Pega is one of the organization which is having multiple tools, like PRPC is one tool. Okay, RPA is one tool, cloud management. Likewise, so Pega is the organization name which is maintaining multiple tools. So one such BPM tool name is PRPC. Okay, from now we should be calling this as a PRPC, like Pega rules process commander. Okay, people with less knowledge usually call this as a Pega tool, but that is not 100% true. This should be called as a PRPC. As a developer, you have to call this as a PRPC tool. Okay, you might be hearing this word many places. Pega PRPC CSA, Pega PRPC CSSA. So these kind of places will be seeing this. So you understood the meaning of PRPC, right? So actually the name of this tool should be PRPC tool. That is like Pega rules process commander. Why? Because this will be having multiple rules. Each and everything will be a rule here. Okay, so this will be processing each and every rule, and that is the thing. It will be called as a Pega rules process commander, PRPC. Okay, in PRPC everything should be called as a rule. And now I have to create one rule for framework application and one rule for implementation application, and in future we will be creating multiple rules for activities also. Likewise, whatever the thing we want to do, everything should be called as a rule here. Okay, now I want to create one framework application rule. So earlier we have seen, yesterday we have seen, there will be something like in send email notification, if you remember. So there will be automated activities, there will be automated Java in terms of an activity, and that name is like in send email notification. That is also one rule. Activity is the rule. Likewise, each and everything should be called as a rule. Okay, now my purpose is to create one framework rule in this application. So when I log in with the master credentials, I'm already seeing something like an application name as Pega platform. So did we create this Pega platform? I did not create this application. The purpose of my launching is to create one new application, and in this process I am seeing one existing application which is already there. So there is one predefined application rule, understanding, right? So there is something like an predefined Pega platform is something like an already created application for me. Okay, likewise, send email notification. This is also one of the activity what we have seen yesterday. So did we create it? I did not create this activity rule. I did not create this application rule. Okay, so these are all the rules without we creating. So what we are seeing here? PRPC is maintaining some predefined rules. It might be either application or it might be either activity or anything. So PRPC is maintaining some automated or like predefined rules. Okay, and technically we should be calling these predefined rules as OOTB, meaning out of the box. Understood, right? So whatever the rules we see in PRPC that is not defined by us, those are to be called as an OOTB rules. So Pega platform is one OOTB application rule. Send email notification is one OOTB activity rule. Likewise, each and everything which is not created by us, it needs to be called as an OOTB in Pega or PRPC. Okay, OOTB meaning out of the box. So in your real time also you will be coming across this word many places. So that is OOTB, leave it. Okay, so that is not part of OOTB. So this kind of terminology you will be listening. OOTB meaning which is already created for us. Okay, suppose as I told you, send email notification is one OOTB activity rule. If I want to send one customized mail to the person, okay, then what I'll be doing, I'll be making use of this particular activity and I will be passing my email ID. So to whomever I have to send the mail. So I'll be just giving the mail and I'll be using this activity rule. Then what it has to do, it has to send one automated email to the concerned person. If suppose the mail is getting very slow, so if I send it today, it has to be reached in, sorry, if I send it now, it has to be reached in next 1 minute or 2 minutes. That is my expectation. Okay, but if it is taking long time, like 1 hour or 2 hours, so testing team will be logging one defect. So testing team will be raising one defect saying like performance issues are there, saying like mail is not getting triggered in time. So these kind of defects what testing team will be raising. As a developer, we have to resolve all those, right? So in this scenario, as a developer, what we should say is, so this is already as part of OOTB. Send email notification is already created by Pega. OOTB meaning Pega has created for us, predefined. So send email notification is already predefined and there is nothing to do from my end. Why? Because it is completely predefined. I need not make any changes. So in that scenario, we can simply reject the defect saying like OOTB issue. Understanding, right? OOTB meaning predefined issue. So OOTB will be, I mean, we can just simply resolve, I mean, close the defect saying like OOTP issue. And then, as I told you, one dedicated person from the Pega system will be working with us. He should be taking care of that. Okay, OOTP meaning this is completely related to Pega, and one dedicated person working with us has to look into that issue and has to identify where exactly it is getting delayed. So these kind of things. So in this kind of scenarios, we'll be mainly using what is OOTP. Okay, so QA team will not be having much knowledge on what is OOTP or anything. So they will not be having technical knowledge. Instead, they'll be just saying mail is triggering very late. Okay, performance issues are coming. So these kind of things they'll be just raising. They will not be knowing what is OOTP and why are they getting late. So, but as a developer, we should be understanding we are using this send email notification in order to send the email, and that is not defined by us. It is already predefined. So this is something related to OOTP issue where we can able to simply redirect to the Pega systems team. They should be taking care of it. So likewise, in many places we'll be coming across this OOTP terminology. You have to understand. Okay, understood, right? You can able to just simply say like Pega platform is one OOTP application, and send email notification is one OOTP activity rule. Likewise, whatever the thing we have not created, those are to be called as an OOTP rules. So Pega platform is one OOTP rule. So now I launched into this launched into this master credentials in order to create one new framework application. And in order to create one framework application or implementation application, the navigation here is you have to click on this down arrow. Understanding, right? Let me close this also. So you have to click on this down arrow. If you click here, we can able to see something like a new application. Okay, if I click on this, then I will be getting one new wizard asking me to give the application name and the application type. So is it like a framework or is it like an implementation? So these kind of changes we can able to include into that particular wizard. Okay, so then we can able to create one new application deciding the type, either framework or implementation. And before that, let me show you something like a definition. So there will be something like a definition. If I click on it, what I will be getting? I'll be getting details related to that application. Correct, right? So Pega platform is one OOTP application rule. Right to understand. So it is one OOTP application rule. If I click here, there will be something like a definition. So let me click here. So if I click, I can able to see everything related to this particular application. I can able to see something like an identifier, and I can able to see something like a name. As I told you, this is also one of the rule which is having one identifier. Okay, so each and every rule will be given with one identifier. Understanding, right? Why? Because processing will be very simple with if we have unique ID created. So every person will be calling with your name only, but in the background processing, it has to be processed with your employee ID, like your salary management or anything. Everything will be processed based on your employee ID only, but they will be calling you with your name, meaning the display name. So even for this also, even for each and every rule in PRPC, we will be having identifier as well as the display name. See here, we can able to see this identifier of this rule as Pega rules, but the display name, the name what we are seeing it like a Pega platform, we can able to see, right? So this should be called as a display name, and this should be called as an identifier. In this scenario, display name and identifier both are not same. So Pega platform is the display name for this particular rule. Pega rules is the identifier of this particular rule. Okay, so display name and identity both might be equal or may not be equal. So if I click here, I can able to see display name as send email notification and identifier name also the same. If at all, if you want to change the display name, it is possible for me. You can just simply change and click on OK. Okay, but identifier cannot be changed. Okay, so as what I'm telling here is there will be many rules where we will be having display name and identifier same or different. Okay, I might be having one rule with same names, same ID name as well as the same display name, and there will be rules where both will be different. Why I'm telling you here is I'll be creating one new application. Once I create the application, based on the name, ID will be generated, but don't think both will be same in all the cases. There will be some count restrictions, character length count restrictions. There we can able to clearly understand. So now, as of now, understand that each and every rule will be having name and identifier. They might be same or they may not be same. Okay, so as I told you, Pega platform is one OOTP application. If you log off from here and log into earlier versions like 7 version, you will be seeing this OOTP application name as Pega rules. Understanding, right? So if you log in into any of the 7 version or earlier versions with this master credentials like administrator@pega.com and password as install. Okay, if you log in there, you'll be getting the same kind of screen only, and you will be finding application name as Pega rules, not the Pega platform. So Pega rules is already something what we have come across. Here we can able to see. So meaning they have just renamed the application display name from 7 version to 8 version. That's it. There also in 7 version also this application ID will be Pega rules only, and here also Pega rules only. But application display name there is to be like Pega rules. Here they have just renamed it to Pega platform. Why? Because they felt like there will be much features added in the 8 version, and that is the thing they have just renamed the application name as Pega platform. But they could not able to rename this identifier. Understanding, right? Why? Because identifier is already created long back and they cannot able to change it. If they want to change it, they have to change it in the multiple places, which is not an easy task. That is the thing, whatever the OOTP application which is already created like Pega platform here, they have just renamed the display name, but they could not able to edit the identifier. So even now we will be having identifier name as in Pega rules only. Okay, so earlier versions like 6, whatever the identifier name we see, we are seeing it here also. Suppose if Pega is launching 9 version or 10th version also, they will be having this identifier as in Pega rules only, but instead they can able to rename the Pega platform as Pega Imprint or something. They can just change the display name, but they cannot able to display the identifier name. That is important. So why I'm telling you this much here is, whatever the application I'm trying to create it now, it might be having display name equal with frame with identifier, or it may not also. Okay, understood, right? Clear? No doubts in our case.
Clear, Chandra.